All right. Hello. I'm getting ready to go live on all these channels. Give me 1 second to get YouTube. Oh, no, sorry. Facebook needs to go live. All right. Adding Facebook. And I'm Aaron Littles, still Aaron Littles. I'm going to be talking about employee and clinician retention today. All right. So we're up on LinkedIn, we're up on TikTok. And a couple things, I'm in the healthcare staffing space. Clinician recruitment is huge. And I think the principles still apply in other industries, other positions. Employees are the lifeblood of companies. I'm pro AI. I think there's going to be a lot of humans still working as the years and years go on, even though there's AI happening. But I think we have to do a better job now, even more so as leaders, as business owners, as bosses, managers, to retain and engage and attract employees and retain them. Because now with remote work, with flexible work and the benefits and all these different pieces, if you don't take care of that workforce, it'll be hard to replace them and find really good people that want to do a good job and stay with you. And if we don't do that, then your company's going to suffer. You can AI as much as you want to. Again, I love AI. I love all the different things it can do. But if you're not taking care of the human workforce, then when you need humans, then you won't have them available. And so depending on what your company is, depending on what you do, employee retention, and some of the specific examples are clinician retention. Hopefully this helps you solidify that workforce for you, both internal and external. And with healthcare staffing, it's a cool industry because the clinicians are that's the product, if you will. And I don't want to say that in a negative way. It's just we help clinicians get jobs and move around. So we need them as the people available to the staffing agency, but also our clients need to have access to those services. And so we've got to take care of that finite resource of clinicians. And then similarly on the internal side, if you've got employees, who's going to call, who's going to do after hours, who's going to do customer service, who's going to do sales, you need all those things in place. And so having a good employee retention program is critical to ensuring that you can go to the next level with your business. So with that being said, I've got 5 things on the board. The Q&A is live. Questions are always welcome. I love to see if I can. Hi. Oh, I see someone on TikTok. Robin Walls, of course. She's a big cheerleader. But it's just talking about how do we keep those clinicians, how do we keep those employees engaged and excited about it. So I've got 5 things, and I'm not going to tell you anything that you may not have already heard, but I love to give my own spin on it. I love to give examples and seeing, how you can use some of these tips and tricks in your business to help you go to the next level. And I'm consolidating 20 business books and 20 years of of business experience into some principles I think that are critical for you, and hopefully that helps you as you grow your business. So as an example, great service. I love the Chick-fil-A model, having great customer service. If you take care of your people and you do the next right thing, and it's my pleasure, and you treat people how they want to be treated, that's huge. And unfortunately, it's actually a lost art. Where was I? Oh, I was traveling someplace in Orlando. I went to a burger place, and the waitress was just not happy. She was having a bad day, and I walk in like, hey, how's it going? I'm excited. I love burgers. I'm a burger and fries kind of guy. And I could not get a smile out of her. She didn't want to engage. And number one, that's on the leadership to say, hey, if she's having a bad day, can we get her on the fries that day and just help that person move back into a non-customer facing role, right? So that's one thing where her service wasn't bad, but for that role, it can make or break the difference. Because I asked questions in my first time there. I don't know what they mean by a super pounder or whatever, they're grilled, whatever. I didn't understand, so I needed help. And I can go on the app, but it's like, hey, I'm a senior millennial, got a cane somewhere around here, and I didn't understand. So I think that better service in that example would have just made that experience even better. And I'm there. I'm on social media. Could have liked it, could have commented, could have done something positive for them, but they lost that engagement. So I think having great customer service, both to your clinicians internally and to your employees, how you treat them is the premise of an example number 1 here. Making sure that we want to treat people well, and this can go all the way to how do you terminate people well. And I know that's hard to say out loud, but if you don't have a good way of transitioning people out of your company, that's actually a really bad thing to have happen. economic cycles come and go, right? So things are up and things are down. So being proactive, being transparent with your team on where they sit. Don't be the company that has a 5 o'clock Friday fire drill, like some random layoff. Don't be that company. That's not treating people well. Saying here's our goals, here's our KPIs, and then not to scare people, but you're dealing with grown-ups. People need to know that they're not going to have an income in 4 weeks. They got to be able to make plans and decisions. And so Andy Horowitz, the hard thing about hard things, he used more colorful language, but when you have to eat crap, don't nibble, right? So if you have to do a big layoff, get it done, go all the way, go as bare as you can get it, but then you can treat people with dignity in how you do it. Resume assistance, transition support, all those other things, because you don't want to get people in a bad situation post layoff. So how do you help those people transition well is the key, and that even how you serve them on exit. So that's just the one example. I know that it's extreme, but some people have been fired. Some people don't want to not know that they're going to get a paycheck or have access to grocery money, and we can do those things. Yes, we got to spread joy, when we're interacting with our people and our teams. And, I smile when I'm in the office. And so now I have to smile every day, because if I don't smile, then people think that, oh my gosh, is the company going under? So if Aaron's not smiling, it's like, oh no, Aaron always smiles. Like, why is it Aaron's not smiling? People get nervous about their jobs. And that was a pressure I didn't realize. And so I'm usually happy anyway, but if I ever have a bad day, I've got to kind of hype myself up to say, okay, we get to go do this. We get to go help people have jobs and take care of patients and things like that. So how you lead and how you carry yourself does matter, especially in that leadership role. Let's jump to number 2, loyalty. So this is like a clinician loyalty or employee loyalty. What do you do for people that do give you time? They're given 40 hours a week for years and years and years. How do you take care of those people? I know it's simple, but it's one of those things where employee of the month is a simple, low budget, no cost thing. It's a printed out flyer. It's a $10 gift card to Starbucks, or $15 now to Starbucks, but or it's a burger or Chipotle gift, right? So it's no cost, and just to acknowledge people's hard work, to acknowledge that, hey, I appreciate you staying late on Friday to knock out that project for our very important client. That made the company a lot of money, and then for you, it saved you to having to do some work, and then for that employee, they just can feel appreciated. So how do we have these micro loyalty programs? I'll even call it micro. These are tiny, microscopic programs that you can do for low cost, no cost budget, but it shows that you care and you're being intentional. That's the key, is intentionality. I wish I had one of my coins right here. I can probably walk off screen and find one, but I would hand out the captain's coin at Gale. Let me see if I can find it. It'll take hopefully 1 second. I may have gotten rid of them, but it was like a military type of coin where, had the company logo, but it's, it was given out by the COO for executing violently. So, and that's just my little saying. Everyone knew that in my last couple companies, is that we always execute violently. So if I find someone executing violently, getting stuff done, making things happen, we would present them a coin. It was a micro ceremony, but it made an impact to those people to get a handshake and a smile. And so I think we as leaders, we love those coins, right? So we give them out. People feel appreciated, and those micro little loyalty things, again, low cost, no cost. We made, I don't know, 200 coins or something like that, and that costs $5 a coin. So my point is that we've got to find these ways to drive some loyalty for whatever your company feels culture-wise is appropriate. I'm a military guy, so I love military type things, and that's just the way we did it. And it's one of those things where I'd rather you be wrong on the exact thing, but be right in trying, be right in executing, be right in acknowledging people. And it's like, wow, I wish the coin was a triangle, or I wish it was maybe, but I don't know if people care. It's just the fact that you stopped, slowed down, and did something. I went to someone's house. Side story, some employee had a medical thing, and I happened to have an extra 30 minutes to go help walk their dog. So I drive to their house, I help walk their dog, and then I saw, like, in the corner of their office, they had their employee of the month certificate, like, on the wall. And this is like 2 or 3 years after they had gotten that. And it's one of those things where hey, people are people, and it's like they still were grateful that they were recognized for being employee of the month. So don't minimize people's emotions and feelings, and have the EQ necessary to say, oh wow, my company actually cared about me, and they saw this, and I got this special certificate. Don't minimize those things, because I remember when I was at the bank, people had like their 5-year anniversary, 10-year anniversary, and then they were there for 40 years, 35 years. They had all those little plaques and certificates. They cared because it showed that the company cared about them. So I'm lumping all that into loyalty, but it's appreciation. It's what do you do to show gratitude for people being part of your company, being part of your organization. And then the same thing too, if you're an employee on the other side, can you lead up? Can you go the other direction and say, hey, boss, I'd love to initiate an employee of the month program, or I'd love to initiate an appreciation program where we can recognize people that do great things. And I don't want it to turn into like, 8th place trophies, but you could still recognize people that do really good things. And then it makes something to make a performance culture where people actually aspire to do a good job and be recognized, not just saying, oh, Johnny came to work on time today and he gets an award. I didn't say that. I'm saying, wow, someone went extra, went above and beyond, did more than just the bare minimum. Let's recognize that. Let's do something with that. Thanks so much for all these people joining and popping in. I'm learning Twitter. This is fantastic. Again, if you have questions, comments, let me know. I'm learning all these platforms. Oh, I'm getting hearts and stars. This is great. Okay, I'm going to jump into number 3. Community. I think this is a big one. So I'll tell the story. When I bought my Tesla, I had to wait like 13 weeks for it. So I'm a Tesla customer, but I had to wait 13 weeks for my car to be robot built or whatever. And so there's all these chat rooms, and and that was an interesting room to be in, because you got people in there with a lot more money than me. And they were like just saying, oh, I'm buying one for my wife, and I've got my daily driver, and I might drive it every once in a while. And it was just, but there was a sense of community that was built over everyone just kind of waiting to see, remember, we just all bought a car off the internet, and we're like, and you can like Apple Pay, like, the $100,000 to buy the Tesla. So it's just like, okay, honey, I did a thing last night. I bought a Tesla online. But now it's like the community formed from everyone having this shared experience. Like, hey, I didn't know you got your car. Is this real? Like, how's this working? When the first person got their car, we're just hitting them up like, show videos, give us videos, let us see it. We need to know it's real. And then someone else was like 10 miles away, and they drove to his house and said, okay, take me for a ride in your car. And the point was, we all had this little community built and say, okay, it's real, and we were trying to guess the date when our car would come, and by the VIN number, and they were like, go in the app, see the VIN number. We can figure out, we can triangulate when you're going to get your shipment, all kinds of stuff. But that was a micro community that was formed over that shared experience. So similarly, you can form these communities with your clinicians, if you're healthcare staffing like me, or if you're an employee group at your company. And so you could say, hey guys, we're going to have bowling Wednesdays. When I was in the Marines, we did Warrior Wednesdays. That was fun. We didn't hurt anyone, but we would go have a beer after work, and you didn't have to drink beer, but it was at a bar. So it's like, hey, the goal is to like be cordial and get to know everyone outside of just the hardcore nature of the Marines. And so we did it, and it was like shared, mandatory fun. So we would go there, but over time you build this sense of, okay, you learn people's hobbies, you learn what they're into, you learn about their wife, their kids. And so then that made a little bit more of an internal bond, so that when we have to go do a hard thing, like, take down a village or of bad people, you already had that kind of relationship. So these are things that, again, low cost, no cost. I had to buy my own beer. They didn't buy, it wasn't company sponsored beer. That should be a thing, but we're on base, so the beers were cheap. But you get the idea. It's just having this community sense. And especially with clinicians now, you can do Facebook communities, you can do TikTok communities, LinkedIn communities. And I love doing the fireside chat, saying, hey, everyone, if you're part of my company, here's the state of affairs. Here's where things sit. Here's the innovations that we have coming with our technology. Here's the work opportunities that we have coming up. Here's the deals that we've signed, the partnerships that we've got going on. And here's what you can expect from us in 2026. I'm behind and I need to do another fireside chat from one of my companies, but you get the idea. It's not hard. These are low cost, no cost things to do just so people can be included. And not everyone reads email, not everyone reads text. So don't use that as an excuse. Go the other way. Do an email, do a text, do a live, do a video, and then you've touched all the bases. And people say, "Hey, I don't feel plugged in. Hey, we're trying to plug you in. How do you best engage? Oh, I need a personal phone call. Oh, okay. I'll set a call with you once a quarter and give you a 15-minute update. Well, Aaron, that takes a long time to do that. Well, I'm going to hopefully convert that person into an email or a video, or I like talking on the phone. I got 15 minutes when I'm driving home from the gym or whatever. I'll just talk to that person. But those little things can help move the needle to give credibility to your company, to show that you guys care, whatever that may be. So I just want to mention that as an option. All right. A lot of people are jumping in, hearing a little bit about business and jumping out. I don't know how to. I like live because I can just be more free and it's less stress or pressure than a video because you got to get it right in 38 seconds. And I'm, as you can tell, maybe you can't tell, I don't know, a little bit older. So it's like you got to talk. You got to say, hey, here's how I've grown, my multi-million-dollar businesses. It takes more than 38 seconds. So ask questions. If you have a business, a side hustle, I've done all those different things, 0 to 100 grand, 0 to 5 million, 1.5 million to 400 million, and all the things in between. And so having these things are critical as you grow your employee base from one employee, just yourself, to having a team, to having a big team. And you want to get these building blocks in place before you begin. And then if you have to learn and grow, you're just going to have more lumps along the way. I'm trying to share some of my lumps, my lessons learned, so that you can hopefully learn from those mistakes and not repeat them. Jumping on. Number 4, this is Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A. There's other great customer service companies out there, but Chick-fil-A tastes the best. So one of their issues is if they make a mistake, they give you a cookie, and just because. And it's like, well, I'm trying to watch my gluten, so I'm not eating the cookies anymore. But it's just they can refund you. They can make it all the order over again, but then they just kind of do that one thing to say, hey, we want to make it right. We're not going to argue about it. And for those managers and those people that argue with their customers, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Depending on the size of your order, depending on the size of your deal, it's one of those things where I'd rather have a review that says, hey, I don't want to be their customer anymore, but they made it right, than they didn't, Aaron argue with me for 10 weeks and now you have this really bad review online. And it's like, well, it's harder to fight back from that negative, horrible review than it is to say, well, it just wasn't a fit for me. Oh, okay. That's okay. That's not horrible. But if they say, I had to yell at the owner, I went back and forth and they stole my money. Whoa. You got a full refund, or I paid you for whatever I owed you. Are we good? Are you whole? If I made you whole, let's just walk away and it's not a good fit. No big deal. I caught you in a bad day, or you caught me on a bad day, which is hopefully rare. But whatever that is, you just want to make it right. I think, especially in the clinician side, in my last company, Gale, we had a lot of CNAs and nurses, and they're polite. They're nice people. That's the salt of the earth. But if you take their money, or if you don't pay them when you're supposed to, and I'm generalizing here, but I was verbally threatened. And it's like, hey, Aaron, you owe me half a lunch break. I was like, wait, it's $7. I mean, what do you want me to do? It's Aaron, it's the principal. Oh, my bad. I apologize. So we made it right. And then I said, hey, for your inconvenience, here's a little bit extra just so we don't have any problems. And it was one of those things I had to learn that earlier in my career, that it's the dignity. It's the dignity aspect of saying, hey, let's make it right. Because, no, it was one of my Chicago girls. Oh gosh. That's a tough place. But it's one of those things to make sure that you make your clinicians whole, even if they feel wronged. How do you get there to make it right? Because I'm telling you, it's the money. The money is secondary. Depending on what your issue is, maybe it's a $10,000 issue. Okay, you got to figure that out. But if it's a $5 issue, this meeting's costing $5. Guys, give her the money. Give her an extra $50 for Starbucks, just so we have no problems, and move on. And if you do that, there's nothing negative that can be said. That's not true, right? So it's like, I want to have any negative response has to all be truth. If you're going to lie, then we were going to have a bigger problem. But Aaron had a problem with my lunch break, but then he made it right. And they may or they may not mention I give him extra, but at least it's going to be a true statement. So that's why I just want to make sure we think about how do we take care of our clinicians, how do you make that situation right? And that goes for customer service, that goes for internal employees. We had an issue when I had a lot of employees where we got HR, we got corporate. And there was a big deal about PTO. And again, when you start a company, you're not doing all these things about PTO and having an HR department and all these things. But people were like freaking out because they didn't use all their PTO by 12/31. And so they're all asking for a week off, or can I roll a week over? And I'm like, sure, what's the problem here? And HR didn't want to do it. I was like, well, listen, guys, I don't care. Not that I don't care. I love my HR professionals, but we have to figure out how do we move forward and have a better plan for the following year. But we were able to make it right and say, hey, we're going to increase the amount of PTO rollover, and we're going to, authorize vacations. And you get to the end of the first quarter. That was our compromise. I remember now. And so that extra 3 months gave people time, because I want you to take your vacations. I don't want you to burn out. I don't want you to, do like I did and burn out and not take vacations and work too much. And so just take the vacation. Then we said, oh, if you don't want to take vacation, but you're not burnt out, then we'll pay you for it. We'll buy back your time. So those are simple little things that, again, it's already written to that comp plan anyway. So it's just a matter of saying, okay, we're able to honor what we already agreed to when we hired you. You're going to get 2 weeks of PTO or 3 weeks of PTO, give it. And then if you have to pay for it, then you are going to pay for it anyway by the time off. So it's just one of those, these are little micro examples, but if you can take care of people and for their dignity of it, right, just to make sure they're happy, it's one less problem. And if you can give them one less problem, then it helps your company as a whole. Let me get a quick sip of water. All right, so the last one, I just kind of wrote this on here. It's the one extra thing. I think even the clinician side, someone said, hey, Aaron, I need a day off. Oh, okay. Do you have PTO? Oh, no, we don't. And this is early in one of my companies, and it was one of those things where we just didn't have a policy. No one had ever asked for it. And so we made a policy after, but we gave that person a paid day off. And then we said, you know what? We just looked at that person's record. They'd worked like, I don't know, 4,000 hours, something crazy over a 3-year period. It's like, oh, wow, you're like a really important person for us. Thank you for all you've done. Oh, by the way, here's a week of vacation for free. Or we did something really nice for her. And she was like, oh my goodness. And the contract value was probably $1,000. So it was like, just as an appreciation, we gave a $1,000 gift. And don't tell HR, because we didn't do it for everyone. But that person appreciated it. And now they're a raving fan forever. And not just because of the money, but just because we actually slowed down, looked at their situation, gave some thought to their request, and honored it and said, oh yeah, you sure, here you go. Here's time off. And because you've been loyal to us, thanks for all you've done. And here you go. Now in my future companies, I want to proceduralize that, not to where it's stiff and it's robotic. It will have AI, but to be able to say, hey, we're gonna piggy bank some amount of money to, at the end of the year, we can give some gifts and say who's our most loyal clinicians, who's our most loyal employees, who's done some things above and beyond the bare minimum that we can take care of and do a little something extra special for. I think that's a reasonable thing to do in business. If you don't do it, let's go the other way. If you don't do it and you say, hey, I'm going to pay myself 300 grand this year, and you don't care about your people, and you say, well, I earned it. That's my money. It's my company. You're right. It is in most part, for the most case. But if you had paid yourself $270,000 and taken $30,000, you can do a lot of really nice things with 30 grand, like a lot, especially if you have a small team or whatever. That's just a beautiful cruise for the whole team. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. You can do some tax benefits there too, so you don't really lose 30 grand. But the point being is that it doesn't take a lot of money. I think I've tried to emphasize that in all these things. It doesn't take a lot of money to make an impact for your team and have retention. I think it's more about the intentionality. So to summarize all these is be intentional, have a program, think about your team first. Don't think about them last as an afterthought, and they'll take care of you. And it's kind of do the next right thing, or the golden rule, whichever one you want to put it. But if you do unto others as they would want done to themselves, you'll go a long way in business. You'll have less problems, and same for the customers. Take care of your customers. They can become raving fans. If you can get people so excited about your product. Tesla doesn't have commercials. They don't have commercials, guys. And now they're the most valuable car company in the world with no commercials. But you talk to any Tesla owner, most Tesla owners, they'll tell you they love their vehicle, they love the experience, they love the service, they love the app, and it's fun to drive, right? So they have a great product, they have a great service thing, and I'm not promoting that, but I'm just giving you one example that people are not arguing about their Tesla doing something. And a lot of the news that you do hear is actually fake news, but that's separate. My mother and mother-in-law text me every time there's a rainstorm. Aaron, is your car okay? So anyway, I went on for about 25 minutes here. I didn't see any questions coming. I'm just going to scroll on TikTok. Nothing on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for listening. If you have questions, I've got this whole series in September talking about business growth. It's a bend towards healthcare staffing, but again, if you have a business and you have a question, this is a spot where I've had the opportunity, right, wrong, or indifferent, to be in a lot of big rooms, a lot of small rooms where we are able to get a lot of people working. And I've built companies, I've bought companies, I've sold companies, I've done partnership deals, I've done private equity deals. And so all those different deals has given me a lot of experience over the years. And my background, I was a Marine Corps captain. So I had a chance to go to combat, serve in combat, lead troops in combat, and learned a lot from that experience. So you put all those things together. And I did work at corporate America. So I've been in, Fortune 500 company, led teams there. And so I've done a lot of different things. And so as you follow me and engage with my content, you're going to hopefully hear a lot of different pieces of, business acumen, leadership, and all those put together to help you scale and grow your business. So thanks a lot for jumping on. Thanks for the comments. Oh, there's 2 new messages. Let me just scroll to the bottom. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome. Happy to do it. And then if anyone else has more questions, DM me, and then we can bring up those topics in the next live. I'm doing lives Tuesdays and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, take care, y'all. And I'm going to end on this side now too.